Welcome to episode 105 of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic.
Before we begin, folks, we got to remind all you good folks out there, you're all two listeners, that $1 a month you can help sponsor the Chew Crew. And you get some rewards, all sorts of different things. So ranging from $1 a month all the way to, I don't know, it's like I think 100 or 50, something like that. But there's a lot of different tiers and a lot of different rewards that can be gained, such as you get your own stick figure. Like if you like the logo that we have, Vic creates the stick figures in your likeness. So that's kind of a cool one. Or you can be on our podcast. A lot of different types of rewards. So that is patreon.com/chew on this podcast.
And you can also cancel at any time.
Yes.
Our customer service is standing by for your
the phone's always busy.
Yeah. And that brings us to West Coast Wawa. Like always, we want Wawa to come out here. I miss Wawa. BJ, you definitely miss Wawa. Mm-hmm. I just had them last month, and I'm seeing all the pumpkin spice stuff out for Halloween and everything, and it's just not the same. The pumpkin spice latte from Wawa's way better.
We could have went to Wawa and stocked up on munchies to watch Stranger Things. We could have binge watched all the Wawa's goodies.
Right. So hashtag West Coast Wawa, and BJ already kind of spoiled what this show's about. Well, it's in the title, so not really a spoiler. But spoilers nonetheless for our review of Stranger Things Season 2. And like everything else, I don't know why we always stress about not being able to binge something in time. I fucking finished the show in one night.
I did too.
I from like 9 a.m., actually from 10:45 or 11 a.m. because I had to go pre-order the iPhone 10.
You had to.
Yeah, I had to.
First world problems.
Yeah, Tim Cook held a gun to my head and said, "You didn't get the 8, you got to get the 10."
Right.
So anyway, I didn't get home till around 11. I started the first episode and I finished it at 11 o'clock at night, midnight or whatever. I finished it, and in one fucking day. I mean, that's sickening. And let's remind people that we're not getting paid for this shit. And I just did it anyway. I think I told you thank God we have a podcast to review this stuff about, and a reason to binge this shit in one day. Otherwise, people would be like, "Wait, you watched an entire show in one day for no fucking reason?
What kind of life do you
lead? An entire season? Don't you have kids? Aren't you watching your kids? Like seriously, you binged an entire season." Well, I mean, it's only 9 episodes, so it's not regular network TV.
They range anywhere from 48 minutes to an hour, though. Some of the
either way, there's no getting around that I watched almost 10 hours of TV in one day. And then what's crazy is when I was done with Stranger Things, I fucking went back and binged other shit that I had on my DVR. So I watched even more TV for no reason. So
go outside.
Yeah. The sun burns my skin now.
You're like a vampire.
Yeah. A vampire only during the day because I don't go outside because I'm too busy watching season 2 of Stranger Things.
Right.
So anyway, initial reactions of season 2. I love this shit is basically the best way I can put it. This show is so goddamn good. It makes you feel like you're in the 80s. It makes you feel like the feeling that you got when you watched The Goonies. I don't know if you got that feeling. I did. Growing up, I always wanted a Goonie adventure, somehow.
Me too.
I was I want a Goonie adventure. I want to find pirate ship and pirate treasure and shit like that. And the closest thing I ever got to Goonies type adventure was 2 times. One time we thought we would explore these woods that ended up just being the woods right behind the fence of a concrete factory. So it was only 20 yards. You could see the trucks from where we were. So not much of a Goonie adventure. Although we did find a case of beer back there, and we were only 12, so we didn't know what to do with it. So we just chucked it at each other.
Shook them up and threw them.
Yeah, just threw them and tried to get them to explode. That was one. And the other time was I'm instead of going down the main street, let's go off the off-road, which really wasn't an off-road. It was just really the the dirt road behind a parking lot that led 50 feet back onto the
These are
street.
like half-assed
Right?
adventures.
Yeah. And the only thing that happened adventure-wise back there was that it like rained that week and we got our bike stuck in the mud.
We didn't find any buried treasure.
No, there was no buried treasure. There was no pirate map. There was no sloth. Just getting out of the dirt with my bike, riding that home, and then the look of absolute disgust on my dad's face when he saw what my bike looked like. Because I had a white dirt bike.
Oh,
it was
no.
fucking like brown. Looked like I took a shit all over it.
And you found
So those are my two Goonie adventures. But I know, like, my 12-year-old self, if I watched Stranger Things, I'd be fucking trying to find a demigod. Like, really,
I would.
like, where the fuck is the upside
I would have
down?
played more D&D, that's for sure.
I'm like, I want an 11. That's what I want. Like, growing up, like, you wanted that robot Vicky, you know, from the Small Wonder. Well, I would be like, I want an 11.
The things I could have done to Vicky.
Well, it's as creepy now when you say
Yeah,
it 'cause you're like
but
over
if you
40,
try
but when
to-
you were a
You're like,
kid,
come here, 11. She's like, no, and throws you across the room.
yeah, she like snaps your neck.
Yeah, exactly.
You try to do the popcorn trick.
Yeah. She's like, I'm going to snap it off.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, 11, can you get me a beer? She just like flings her hand and like,
Well, you think about it, she's like the closest thing to a Jedi, like
She
in that
is.
show, right? Right? So, like, man, I mean, how cool would that be? Like, your first crush is a fucking Jedi Knight. How cool is that?
it's a lot to live up to.
I know, right? Like, Mike better grow up to be like, I don't know, like Bill Gates or some
He
shit.
like takes her.
Like, provide for her.
He's got like a walking party trick, though. I mean, it gets like, babe, this is getting old. Quit telling me to move shit. I don't want. I have
Like you're
bloody
playing-
noses everywhere I go. I hate you.
You're going like, you're dude, I'd fucking just take her to the casino the second I hit 21 and be like, we're going to play roulette the whole time or craps. You know what I mean? Just the whole time.
Don't mind
just,
her bloody nose. It's not a big
Yeah,
deal.
just she smokes a lot. She snorts a lot of coke. Don't worry about it. We're in Vegas. It's good. She's a fucking coke fiend. Why do you think I'm gambling? That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, it would be. That would definitely be a good place to take her. Or just like, bet on boxing or football, and she could like make the ball fumble or make.
Dude, it's so much easier. Yeah, but football is 4 hours long. Roulette is like what, 30 seconds?
Yeah.
You could be a millionaire. You could be a millionaire after 15
You can
minutes.
get caught though. At least.
How? How would they fucking prove that she has fucking psionic powers?
They're like, she keeps winning and her nose keeps bleeding. Something's wrong.
I already told you she's a coke fiend.
I don't know. You don't play too much. You just bet big and then walk away. Don't
Right,
don't
exactly.
Stay there all
Well,
night.
when you first start, you're not going to have you can't bet big.
Yeah.
But like but betting like $1 million on like zero. Imagine the green zero.
Right.
Holy fuck, just $1 million, you're set.
Yep. You're done. No, my initial reaction is I was like, holy shit. They took something I absolutely loved last year, and for me it just felt better. It just they really gave a lot of secondary characters from last year, they gave them more to do. Because like one of the main gripes that I had, or one of the only gripes that I had from season 1, is that at the very end they didn't give the kids anything to do. They just left them in the gymnasium and they just sat there while 11 and when Hopper and Winona Ryder essentially went in the Upside Down to find Will. They just left the kids in the gymnasium for like 2 episodes, and then the Demogorgon comes in there, and then 11 zaps it and disappears. So they didn't really give a lot for those kids to do at the very end of the season. But this time around, it's like they kind of figured out how to give everybody something to do.
Well, there's a good and bad thing to that. I completely agree with you about giving them something to do, but I kind of liked the fact it made sense that they just stood behind because they're fucking 11 years old.
Right.
This is the one time you're going to get your 11-year-old, unless he's a little asshole, to like do exactly what you tell him to do. Like literally say like, don't do a fucking thing, because if you do, you're going to die because you've seen this thing.
Right.
I'm not fucking around. When I say stay here, stay here. and all of them like, okay, I'm gonna stay. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that thing where you tell your partner to stay in the car, they don't stay in the car, and they end up getting shot, and there's your backstory.
Right.
You know, so I the good thing about that is that they get something to do, so it's not just concentrated on these couple of characters. But the bad thing is that it's it almost borderlines a ridiculousness to it, like in Toy Soldiers, which is ironic because Sean Astin's in that too. Like when when the entire lives of the entire school is put to the put to the test or in the hands of some flunky,
Right. Right.
and the United States Army is okay with that, like all because the principal or the dean is like, if he says he can do it, he can do it.
Right.
Oh, thanks, Dean, no problem.
Yeah.
And if this all goes to shit and every single person in that fucking school dies, is he gonna fucking take the rap for it, or am I? I am. Fuck you, I'm not doing it. That's real life, right?
Right.
So, but in Stranger Things, again, spoilers, in Stranger Things 2, they actually do something that's not that, like, far-fetched. Like I said, it borderlines it, but these guys, the kids have been through it together. So I feel like it makes more sense for them to do it in the second season rather than the first
No,
season. Because
totally.
the second season they've dealt with it.
No, totally. I agree with that. It's just I think they did some really good writing here to make the kids like, there's that situation where, 11 and Hopper are going to go shut the gate, and then the kids realize they're like, we need to distract all those Demogorgon. We need to get them out of there. So by going in the tunnel and like, burning up or whatever, setting the thing on fire in the hub, that'll make all the dogs, the demo dogs or whatever they called them, to run there. That made a lot of sense to me. I was like, oh,
yeah, it did.
I'm like,
it did.
that's really cool. It's kind of like the scene in, again, like Sean Astin's like all over this. He's like 6 Ways of Kevin Bacon almost. But like in Lord of the Rings, they distracted,
oh yeah, the army. Instead of instead of Gandalf just giving them fucking eagles.
It's like they keep they stormed the Black Gate, and that made all the orcs go there and let Samwise and Frodo go straight to the Mount Doom. So I dug. I like that they gave everyone something to do. I like that they definitely gave Steve a lot more to do, and he wasn't the douchebag that he was.
No. I think I texted you through the show and throughout the show. But one thing I remember saying to you is I think Steve's now my favorite character because he was kind of a dick in the first season, and then it seems like he treated Nancy like really well. That's her name, right? Nancy. Yeah, Nancy. Yeah, treated her really well in the second season. She was the one that was acting like a complete bitch, only because she knew deep down inside that she didn't love him, which I thought was kind of like really bitchish about him. But they never actually even get into the argument that like she basically cheated on him, like, and he knows it, and they never had that conversation. And Steve's like completely cool with it. Now he's like really good friends with Dustin, which I love that dynamic really well too.
They did, this season compared to last season, they bundled together characters that you didn't really think that you wanted.
Right.
You wanted like. They had 11 and Hopper had some really good scenes together, almost like a father.
Probably the best. Their best scene was when he flipped out on her.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that was a really good scene. And then the scene in the car too, right before they have to go into the lab. I think the only character I didn't like in the show, not that I didn't like him, I felt like he is basically the equivalent of the groom in the first 2 Hangover movies, like. This guy just fucking disappears or always get shit done to him. And basically, like, Will is that character.
Yeah.
First movie, it's all about trying to find him. So he's only in the first episode and then, like, sporadically throughout the season. And then in this one, he's just dealing with the aftermath of that. And unfortunately, dealing with the aftermath for him is just looking scared and, like, deadpan the entire show.
Right.
And I don't think that's his fault. That's just the path of his character.
Yes.
So I think out of everybody, his was really redundant a little bit because, again, it revolved all around what was going on with him. And, like, the last 4 episodes, he's, like, comatose, basically.
Yeah.
So, again, it's not that I didn't like him. It's just that I didn't feel like there was a lot of growth in that one because he never fought that thing out. You know, his mom saved him, and I love Winona Ryder in this season too.
I actually liked.
I really do.
I actually went back and watched season 1 again, and I take back everything I said about Winona Ryder because I think in the first season when I watched her, I just felt really distracted by her.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And
We reviewed that, and you said you didn't like her.
and then I watched it over again, and I was like, no, it's just it's like I had to put the fact that it was Winona Ryder out of my mind and watch it for what it is and what her character is, and her character is like completely rash. Like any mother or father would act that way, you know.
Right. And you're talking about the first
Yeah,
season, right?
exactly. And in
Yeah.
this season, she just, I don't know, man, just like stepped. I loved her character, and Sean Astin, I love Sean
Oh
Astin,
God.
but they treated
Bob.
him like they did Barb. They just like they're the red shirts of the series, you know.
Yeah, but everybody wants to get, talk about Barb, and they got justice for Barb in this season, definitely. But I will say Sean Astin's character is more planned out,
Yeah,
or more
way
more
planned out.
thorough and more complete than Barb was. You could kind of see, what Barb was really in the show. She was the best friend of the girl who wanted to be popular, and then all of a sudden she becomes popular, and then Barb is kind of tossed to the side. Well, there's no resolution for Barb and Nancy's character. It's actually resolved by Nancy in this season,
Right.
where she's got to deal with what the fuck happened, because basically she told Barb to go fuck off. I'm going to go fuck this guy now in the first season. So I loved Sean Astin from the very beginning of this show. Bob. He was like not typical. He was that guy that you would want to step in as like a father figure,
Stepdad, yeah.
and a spouse for a stepdad to Will, and what was his older brother's name?
Oh crap. Jonathan.
Jonathan, right? Jonathan, who was actually missed the premiere this week because his fucking dumbass was trying to transport cocaine into the States.
Yeah, idiot.
Good job there. And you missed your premiere. That's how stupid you are. This thing is fucking huge. This thing is just dropped. We're recording this on a Saturday. Just dropped yesterday.
Yep.
And it's going to be around for a long time again. They have another huge hit on their hands, and you missed the premiere because you wanted to bring cocaine into America. You were going to fucking Hollywood, dude. You could have got cocaine anywhere, you dumb shit. It's like the second movie. It's like Harold and Kumar go to Guantanamo Bay when Kumar fucking risks bringing pot onto the plane when they're going to fucking Amsterdam. Like the pot
irony.
capital of the world. He tries to fucking illegally smuggle that shit onto the plane when they're going to Amsterdam. Like, it's fucking stupid.
That was pretty dumb.
So-
yeah,
so-
but you know, that dude, he looks like a druggie on the show. I don't see.
He kind of does. I don't see what Nancy's is in.
I don't either. I'm like, that is one ugly looking dude. I mean,
And yeah, so going back to Steve, like, I love Steve. I love Mike Dust. Everybody really grew. And I did. So as much as I loved this season, I kind of think the addition of Max and the Red Ranger, what the hell's his name in the show? I don't remember. His brother, her brother.
oh god, the
dude's name
brother's a douchebag. I wanted to.
Yeah, but I didn't feel like they needed to be in the show at all. Like there's you get a reason for why he's a dickhead and everything. And I was really pissed that Steve lost to this kid in a fight. I was kind of mad because I figured since Steve fought a fucking Demogorgon, he would fucking kick this guy's ass, but he gets his ass beat again.
Yeah.
But I love Steve because Steve just gets right back up and is like, oh, fuck you guys. Like, all right, fine, let's fucking do this. I can't let it. So Steve actually, as big of that like 80s douchebag like Johnny was in The Karate Kid, he kind of was in the first season or half of the first season. In this season, I sympathize him throughout the entire show because Nancy fucking cheated on him and he didn't do anything wrong.
No.
Like, yeah, he did a lot of dickish stuff in the beginning, but like,
She just didn't have.
but
she
he-
just didn't have the feelings for him. Like you know what I
No.
mean? Like she's a high school
No.
girl. It's like she's
Right.
gonna go, back and forth and whatever.
but Steve still helps the family out.
Yeah.
Helps the dude who slept with your fucking girlfriend. That's the brother you're trying to save. Like, he doesn't, Steve in like the first 6 episodes of season 1 would have been like, fuck this, I'm out. But this Steve, like, he steps up. He's like, all right, fine. me and Nancy aren't going to happen, but I'm still going to stay here and protect these kids. And so Steve is awesome in the show.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to Sean Astin or Bob, because I loved their relationship. And Bob was on the borderline of like he's trying too hard, like Carrie Elways is in Liar Liar.
I totally thought of that.
But he wasn't though. I was like, oh man, is Sean Astin playing that annoying like guy who wants to be best friends with his stepkids or whatever? But he wasn't like that. He was so genuine, and I loved that story that he tells Will in the car, because like that's when he was just giving advice subconsciously without being like, again, Carrie Elways from Liar Liar. Like he wasn't fake nice.
Here's what I thought about Bob in the beginning, or at least for the first few episodes. I thought he was a plant. I really thought like he was working for Hawkins' facility, or for the.
Oh, that would have been a nice twist.
I thought about it, really thought long and hard about it, and then toward the end, when all that stuff started going down, I was like, oh shit, he was just Bob. I was like, oh man, I was so fucking wrong.
So again, spoilers right now. If you don't listen to us, big spoilers are about to come up. So turn it off or fast forward it. All right, you've been warned. So when Bob dies, I was so fucking pissed.
I was too.
Because when Bob's like, can any of you guys do basic? And I'm like, oh my God, no. Because I know right away, because they set up that Bob is the smartest guy that all of those people know.
Yep.
Right, exactly. And then he becomes Bob the superhero. Oh my God. And then you saw the picture at the end of the show. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when Bob, like when they were in the lab and he was like, do you guys know basic? Does anybody know basic? And I was like, fuck, Bob's going to do this. He's going to fucking step up. I'm like, dude, come on, please. What's the brothers' names? Duffing, the brothers that created the show.
Oh, Duffer Brothers. You're like,
yeah, the Duffer Brothers. I'm like, Duffer Brothers, you made Bob step up like fucking big time here. He's going at it alone. Don't fucking kill him. I thought they were gonna pull like a Jurassic Park while he was like on the computer.
Well,
in the room by himself.
They totally borrowed from Jurassic Park, because they're like, hey, the breaker, the power went off. You need to go reset it. And I was like, oh shit, he's Samuel L. Jackson right now. They're gonna fucking kill him.
Yeah, and I was already upset before it actually happened.
Yep, and they teased his death like 3 times, like Walking Dead did Glenn. They kept
yeah, but that was like an entire season.
like he's like, oh shit, he's gonna die now. Nope, he got okay, cool. And I thought,
he's in the closet.
And I thought the doctor was gonna kill him somehow, because the doctor seemed really weird when he was.
I thought
to him over the microphone.
And again, the doctor ended up being awesome.
Yep,
and it's Paul Reiser. I was like, this is fucking awesome. Sean Astin's in this. Paul Reiser's in this. Winona Ryder. This is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what I thought was going to happen there was, remember when the Demidog was around the corner, and Paul Reiser sees it and tells Bob, and then before he can finish telling him, I thought a Demidog was going to kill Paul Reiser right there before he could tell him, and that's how Bob dies.
Like an Aliens moment.
Right, exactly.
Which there was an Aliens moment in this. It had to do with that tracker, where it shows all the red dots.
Yep.
I was like, oh, that's fucking Aliens.
They're actually, it was awesome.
They borrowed from a ton of movies, man. I have a bunch of stuff written down.
But in a good way.
Yeah, no,
but
really good way.
But back to Bob's death again. Yeah. I was so upset when he died because they, and this is again, we always go back to character development and good story, good plots, You had now developed that character as somebody like because if you watch it again and you go back to the part where Bob's talking to Will's mom and saying like, I really think I reached Will today, like it was great, and he was like really genuinely excited, and then he fucking dies. Like I'm getting upset just thinking about it, because like he got through, and they fucking teased it. They did the straight up stereotypical prototypical fucking. You think you're safe, and then the fucking monster pops out and kills Bob.
Yeah. Well, Bob.
I was so pissed.
Yeah.
And then the acting from Winona Ryder of how fucking upset she was. That was so awesome.
It was unnerving, man.
It was so awesome. It was like, it was upsetting, but I meant awesome, like the way that she acted in that scene. So good.
Yeah, because
that played into the death.
Because I thought, I kind of got this feeling throughout this season that. I mean, she loved Bob, but I don't know if she was truly into him. I think she's into Hopper. But they kind of, by killing him off, I was like, well, now they kind of open up this door to, like, maybe those two will get together next season kind of thing.
I was actually upset. that they might cheapen Bob's memory by doing that.
Yeah.
Like I was actually upset. I'm like, you better not fucking write this into the show. Like, not, it's too soon. It's fucking too soon.
Right.
Like, because right after that, like outside of the dance, like Hopper shows up, and like that was a nice moment. I'm glad they kept it like platonic. But I'm like, if they fucking kiss, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Yeah, because that was only a month.
Don't
That
do
was
it.
only like a month later.
Yeah, I was like, don't fucking do it. I'm like thinking Bob's like really a real person. I'm like, don't you fucking, Bob's body's not even cold yet, you bitch.
You're all pretty.
You fucking bitch. Bob just, the
Samwise
grass isn't
Gamgee.
even grown. Yeah, the grass hasn't even grown on the fucking, on the fucking graveyard. Don't you fucking go and kiss Hopper, you bitch.
Yeah, so going back to I don't know, you probably saw a lot of, especially toward the end of the series, there was a lot of callbacks to like other movies and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
so the aliens tracker thing, I remember remember in Empire Strikes Back when Leia yells, "It's a trap," and she gets pulled away, and and Mike does that. He's yelling, trying to yell through the doors, "It's a trap,"
Right.
so that they would get the soldiers out of there, and they all died. When 11 does her little side trip, and the lady's like, "Hey, I want you to pull that big thing." That thing looked like a sand crawler, number one, and number two, it was
That
reminiscent.
was X-Men.
Yeah, it was reminiscent of Yoda telling Luke to pull the X-wing out of the water, and she's like, "Oh, it's like."
Oh,
You know what I
okay.
mean? So, but also,
It's too big.
but also the thing, that's what she said. It's also the thing that she was pulling, though. It looked like a sandcrawler from Star Wars: A New Hope.
Yeah, you could see
It
that.
looked like a sandcrawler.
I thought of X-Men instead.
Oh,
X-Men.
First class, like when
Yes, First Class.
he's moving the satellite
When he's trying to
dish.
tell him to, yeah, but in this version, she's telling him to use. She's telling 11 to use anger, whereas
Right.
in the other one, he kind of releases that pain and allows him to feel,
Right.
and that's why he moves the dish. So that's what I immediately thought that maybe that was fresher in my mind. In the beginning, when she said the tractor was too big,
Yeah.
like I was like, oh, that's definitely Empire right there.
Yeah.
But everything after that, or kind of before that, I felt like it was more X-Men. I don't know, but that was my thinking.
There's tons of there's just too many to write down, but there was a lot of like callbacks to a lot of 80s movies and stuff like that. One of the funniest lines to me, I can't believe they did this, but when Nancy and Jonathan finally do it, they're coming out.
Oh.
The guy. So he's like, "So did you use the pull-out last night?" And he's like,
No, he goes, how was the
how was
pullout
the
last
pullout
night?
last night? He's like, the sofa. He's like, "Oh yeah, it was fine." I was like, that was fucking rad. That was so
Because
awesome.
then I immediately thought, oh, it would have been a pullout because they didn't know they're gonna have sex.
Yeah, there was no they
There's
didn't
no
have
condoms in this. Yeah, it was definitely. I was like, oh, pullout. That's fuck. And then you immediately think like, oh, he fucking pulled out because he didn't have a condom. Like I got more information. I got more information from that one like misunderstanding of that term than actually they would show
But
it.
it's funny because like you're 13 watching the show, you wouldn't fucking have any clue what the hell
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
So that was one.
Yeah.
That was one for the adults. I was like, yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I was like, that was the whole Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd, Bugs Bunny dressing up as a fucking woman, and Elmer Fudd falling head over heels for
yeah.
him.
I'm like Elmer Fudd's trying to fuck that rabbit.
Yeah, it's a female rabbit.
Yeah,
so all of a
right.
sudden it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I don't know if he's like gay or
Not that
he's
there's
into bestiality.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Yeah.
Well, you're trying to figure it out. Is it because she's a woman or because it's a female bunny?
Oh yeah.
Like, there's a big difference
yeah, there's
between
a
the
big
two.
different bestiality. Yeah.
Like, why do you want to fuck this thing now? It still looks like a bunny.
Just because it has lipstick and eyelashes.
Yeah, in a wig.
yeah.
But it's still clearly a fucking bunny. I mean, it's got fur on its fucking face.
Yeah, and it's got a tail and long ears. Come on.
Yeah, what the fuck?
What's wrong with you? You fucking
Elmer-
weirdo. You talk weird, you piece of shit.
Yeah, Elmer Fudd's into bestiality, or he's fucking retarded.
You stutter, damn you. God, what else to say about this show? Oh fuck, the music, the sound. I want the soundtrack to this thing.
Soundtrack, yeah.
so fucking good. what did you think of? Okay, so I've been reading now that I've watched the show. I've read a lot of like online critic shit and also just normal people. And some of the gripes that they had was the fact that Elle went on a whole like side trip, like, but I
That opens that world so
I
much more.
love that.
Me
I was
too.
like, what are you kidding? I'm like, we got out of that stuffy town and she kind of like, yeah, she went to look for her mom and then she found another number 8. She found her who has a
Right, which
totally
means
different power.
there's at least like 10 more
Yeah, I mean,
or 9
I
more.
love that because it did open up the universe quite a bit. I was like, oh
Right.
shit, there's other people out there. There's other situations going
Which
on.
means, because remember, think about the fact that I love the ending shot of the show where, they're panning out of the high school. I'm like, oh, this is a cool 80s pan out, right?
Hmm.
And all of a sudden it starts turning. I'm like, oh, they're going to show the upside down.
Yeah.
And then they show the school and the upside down, and that creature is like right above them, knowing that they're there. And I was like, and then I immediately thought of 11 and 8. And I was like, oh fuck, what if they cross over in season 3, and they need to find like all the other like special kids.
That would be really cool. One of the fan theories is that that creature is actually the first of them. Is like the is like one or something like that.
Oh,
Which I thought was like, oh, that's fucking cool. That'd be pretty
that'd be
trippy.
nice.
Yeah, if like one entered there and then like got left
Yeah,
there
but
and
but
morphed into
then but here's
something.
the problem. Well, here's the problem with that is
Oh,
that
it was 11 that
if
opened the door. Never mind.
it was 11 that opened the door. I mean, one still could have been in there, and he could have sealed it, or they could have sealed it, or number 2 could have sealed it.
Yeah.
But the problem is that it's always Will that's got this issue. Like, you would think they'd be attacking the lab in 11.
Yeah, well, it seems to me that the whole Will like because these two seasons go back to back, but it seems to me that Will um, is not going to be like zipping in and out of the upside down. They got the shit out of his system, so it's
Right.
so. I mean, if they end up doing that again next season, I'm gonna be pissed. It's like introducing another fucking speedster in Flash or something. It's like
Right.
enough is enough. So I
Leave fucking Will
I
alone.
think
Let
these
him
writers are
live.
smart. I think they're smart in that whatever gripes that people had or like not gripes, but like okay, we did this season. Let's not do that again.
Wait, so what other besides that? What other gripes were there?
Oh, for this season, that was the
Yeah, yeah.
that was the biggest one. And someone else, I read a few things saying like, oh, it was a rehash, and I was like, rehashing what? I'm like, I don't remember anything being rehashed. Um,
No.
everything this season feels different to me.
Yeah.
Yet there's a
Clearly they had a lot more money.
oh yeah,
to-
the production value is
um,
way higher. There's more. They introduce
um,
more characters. There's a ton of music that
more,
costs a
more
lot of
special
money. More
effects.
special effects. Um,
Yeah, so um yeah, I definitely didn't have a problem with 11 leaving because I thought that was important for her. That was her like Luke going to Dagobah to train for a week and then
absolutely,
thinks he's bad
This
enough
is
to
the
fight Vader.
this is the Two Towers.
So
Everyone's got their own storyline,
right.
and then they
So
all
I really enjoyed like 11's progression, finding her mom, finding out, what happened to her mom, and finding out that there's these people out there that she can track people now too, because she doesn't need that pool of water anymore.
right.
Right. And her powers grew exponentially because remember, even though she wasn't in the pool of water to go into the upside down or that area or the deprivation tank or whatever,
Mhm.
she was able to do it. She had to do it before with a TV, right?
Static.
But then
Yeah.
static before. Then she could just do it by closing her eyes and just touching something that was like a picture of them or something like that.
Right.
So her powers grew a lot in this, and that was all from her own personal journey. You couldn't have gotten that if she just stayed in the cabin.
Right.
She would have never been able to close the gate if she had not had this,
That
journey.
that was my
Who was going to teach her?
That was my thing too. My argument was you want her to stay in the cabin for 9 episodes and then just pop out of there. I'm like, that's dumb. I loved the fact that she like bailed and then she like changed her look and shit. And so when her entrance in episode 8, when she pops up and kills snaps the neck of the Demodog and walks in like all like fucking badass, I
Yeah.
jumped up and down. I cheered. And then when she pops up at the dance in the next episode, I fucking cried. I was like, this is
Yeah.
like Oh my
You knew it
god,
was
this is
coming.
awesome.
You knew it was coming, but you've been waiting for this moment.
Yeah. It was just, I mean, I'm like, how the fuck did they do that? Because she entered twice and I knew it was going to happen both times, but yet I was excited and thrilled and like and
Yeah.
emotional both times. I was like, how the
Yeah,
fuck did they
emotional
do
both times
that?
because like that because they build good characters. Like,
Yes.
they had Will, not Will, sorry, Mike dealing with Eleven's disappear, thinking that she's dead,
Hmm.
and he's still constantly talking to her like a husband would to his dead wife. Like
Right.
that's the connection that they had, and it was like really well done. It wasn't like creepily well done because these kids are they're kids, and but like you were still rooting for them the whole time. Like, oh man, I can't wait until they're joined back up again.
Hmm.
And yeah, you're right. When she came out, you knew that they were fucked, and you knew 11 was on her way back from the bus. There's some continuity issues there because I believe that drive was a lot longer than they would have stayed alive.
Right,
but
right. But they did
but
but they did show they did tell you though at some point that the timelines were a little different because they did kind of like backtrack a little bit a couple of times.
mm,
So like so
right.
they'd follow somebody doing something and then they'd backtrack to somebody else doing something else around the same time. So
Yeah, it was easy to follow, but it's not like, I mean, it's not like a Tarantino movie.
right.
It's not like Pulp
And it's
Fiction.
not outrageous or out of the realm, but it was a little bit far fetched. I was like, that drive seemed to be longer,
Yeah,
but
because they tell you the states they're going from.
exactly,
So
exactly. But
yeah, and the second time, you knew like, Mike was not going to sit there the entire dance. You knew 11 was going to show up because Hopper teased it. It's like, what are you going to get done in one night? And like Hopper, doesn't say anything, and then they show the dance. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
11's going to show up at the dance.
yeah,
Or I thought it was going to be, I thought they were going to walk in together, but when I knew that they weren't walking in together, I'm like, she's going to show up sometime in the middle of the dance.
yeah.
And it was great. It was really great.
Really well
Uh,
put together.
Dustin's thing was pretty good too when he
He
was
had a
like
lot more
crying
to
in the
do.
back.
He had a lot more to do
Yeah.
this time around.
He was crying in the when after the in the middle of the prom or whatever, the dance, and
Nancy.
Nancy came over to console him and dance with Dustin, who I think had a crush on her in the beginning of the last season.
He did.
Right?
I think she did that because she felt bad for him also. But also you see kind of the other girls going like, okay, like
Yeah.
whoa.
Because it's like you walk in with a really hot chick and you're a 1 and she's a 12. And all of a sudden people are gonna wonder how the hell did you get that
You
chick?
notice like that was a Pretty in Pink moment because he did his hair like a certain way, and that reminded me.
Oh, yeah, John
of,
Cryer,
yeah,
right?
it reminded me of Ducky. So I was like, but although he didn't get a girl at the very end, whatever. But still, like it reminded me. Fuck, dude, they borrowed from a lot of shit. But it's not so like in your face. It's really just
No.
subtle and awesome.
Because they don't treat their audience like idiots.
No,
They don't have to put it in your
love-
face.
They just love that era so much that it shows.
Yeah, it's just seamless. It's very like it's not like I don't fucking know, like a bad like
Bad Easter
I don't know,
eggs.
Yeah, like Gotham.
We're like, yeah, Harley Quinn is
You
like, or not Harley Quinn, but like, the villains are all Easter eggs. You're like, no, that's not what an Easter egg is.
Yeah. So other DC stuff obviously, but it's very smooth. Like there are episodes where I didn't even think about looking for stuff. There were things that were kind of blatant, like you said, the tracking was reminding you of Aliens because it was a beep and it was the same kind of
Fucking
thing.
Paul Reiser was there.
Yeah, Paul
I was like,
Reiser
that's
was there.
awesome.
So, but a lot of I bet you if I watch when I watch the second season again and look for it, I'll probably pick up on at least like 10 in each episode. But I wasn't looking for
No,
it
I
because it wasn't in
either.
your
I wasn't
face.
either. It's usually
It was so subconscious.
it was usually a line or something, that wasn't so subtle that I caught on right away. I was like, oh shit, that's blah blah blah. But most of the time I was just the beginning part just grabbed me right away because I remember going with my friends to the arcade. We used to ride our bikes there like every weekend and play
yeah.
the arcade. And all those games, like we go to Chuck E. Cheese really. We played Dragon Slayer, we played Galaga and fucking, Dig Dug, all those Centipede, you name it. Like everything was in that arcade. I was like, oh shit, that's exactly like me and my friends,
Yeah.
And so there's just a lot of that. I mean, everybody I talk to that are my age or our age, it says the same thing. They're just like, this show, it's not just like I mean, the nostalgia alone is worth watching it, but they've really nailed these characters. You care so much about them that you like. I was really worried that they were going to kill off a main character, but I think I would have been okay with that because I would have been like, well, that's just the progression. That's real life. Like people fucking die, in
Right.
this situation. And so, unfortunately, first season it was Barb, who really I don't know why people were just so just upended by that. Like, oh, we need her back. She was the most amazing character. I'm like, you see her for 5 minutes the entire show. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What's the big deal? She's like Boba Fett or something. It's like, what's the big fucking deal?
I think she had more to do than Boba Fett.
Yeah, I'm like Boba Fett fell in the Sarlacc pit. Oh well, like darn. Barb's death was pretty horrific. I mean, I admit that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it felt like the fans were pissed and all that, and it felt like the Duffer Brothers were like, okay, we need to resolve this shit. So they resolved her story.
Yeah, but they didn't do like a Batman v Superman that involved the entire plot over the first movie.
Exactly.
Like you get justice for Barb and closure for Barb, but you get it subconsciously through Nancy because she like once she gets over it, like you're fucking done with it. You're like,
Yeah.
all right, Bob, Barb's gone, we're good. But it was like Nancy had to deal with that, and it was like again, it's not treating the audience like they're fucking morons. It's not like Lucas telling Padme to be like, let's cut off Jar Jar because these fans are pissed.
Right. Yeah.
In episode 2, like you can't fuck like what I don't care what George says. Don't care. I know he fucking put it in there for the fans,
Right.
Because it's a throwaway line.
Yeah.
It's a throwaway scene. There's no reason for that scene to have any point in the plot of the
No.
movie. That scene is just a throwaway. So this season is not
There
like
was
that. Where
nothing
it's just
thrown
like
away. There was nothing thrown
No.
away. Everything had a
no,
purpose.
because they did it really they did it really smart with Nancy dealing with Barb's death. So that was like almost like the writers saying like, okay, we understand you're pissed, but okay, let's resolve it, but do it this way where you're not even thinking that we're purposely resolving Barb's death.
Right. No, it's
Because it dived into Nancy's growth as a character.
yeah. I mean, God, there wasn't really a single character. I was like, even I did like the addition of Max, and only because the boys, it gave them something to bounce off of. Because it kind of put Mike was the only one I think this season that they actually put in the back burner.
Yeah, they actually did.
Because he was really first and foremost in the front last season. So, but they gave Dustin and Lucas way more shit to do, and they used Max as like
Yeah.
the catalyst for that. And Mike was just a
but
brooding
but Mike,
teenager.
yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, Mike is kind of a loner and kind of dickish in the first half of the season.
And then he kicks
But then
in. Yeah.
but then when the show like when the shit hits the fan, Mike takes back that leadership role of the whole group.
Yeah, and I love that.
And yeah, I did. Like when he realizes it's a fucking trap, and I was like, oh, that's so badass that the kid he figures it out first. That's so awesome, And the part where he's the one who comes up with the plan, or that says like we need to help them out, we need to do this.
Right.
So like even though he's kind of on the back burner in the first 2/3 of the show or the season, I should say, his character steps it up completely, and everybody in the entire last 3 episodes is great. even the kid who plays Will, who again is like the person who's either passed out or missing. But
Zombie
when
boy.
when he has to pull it together to there's the scene where they're interrogating him in the shed.
Oh yeah.
And like you can tell
that
like
was
the
awesome.
scene where he goes from and he does a really subtle creepy fucking job of this. He goes from being thinking that he's pretending to be Will to the fucking the black demon or whatever, and because his face goes deadpan.
Yeah, because he figures out where he's at. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's fucking disturbing.
Yeah.
I was like, props, kid. That was fucking awesome. And then there's like those screaming scenes that he does that are
Jesus,
pretty.
when he did the seizures, when he did that seizure from when they were burning, because he's like, it's kind of like E.T. He had an E.T. connection with that.
Yes,
with that
yeah.
demon. So anything that happened, that the spirit, the black ghost or whatever, he would feel it. And so,
Or the vines.
so when they burned the hub the first time, all the scientists, he like screams and starts like flailing all about and shit. It freaked me out because he looked really like it looked really
Yeah, he
real.
looked really good job, and then he does a really great job at the end
Oh, they
where
turn on
he's
the
just
heat.
freaking out.
Yeah, they turn
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
heat.
that was good too.
Yeah, I mean, shit, man. Everybody did an awesome job. I didn't.
So you like the addition of
Okay, so I
Max,
like the
but you
addition of
also but
Max.
the
The
brother,
brother to me, there was I think some of that was unnecessary. Like the brother was a dick, and then they had to like show you why. They like because the parents finally come home and his
right,
dad's like
right,
very.
right.
The only reason why I think they did all that is because he's going to play a part next season. I can't figure out really any other reason why, because
Right, because you can get Max from here to there without the brother.
yeah, you can.
There's there's no other reason for him to be there.
Yeah. I mean, other
So
to be, I mean, he
hopefully,
was a foil to Steve, but still,
yeah,
they
but
didn't
I don't
really
think
need
Steve
that.
needed that because they could have Steve's character could have been the same way if they now picture Jonathan in that basketball scene, but not being a dick, and Steve knowing that Jonathan has a thing for Nancy.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he doesn't do it as a dick. Like say Steve doesn't do it as a dick. He just does it as a fucking boyfriend who knows that this guy like wants his girlfriend, you know?
Yeah.
And so picture that scene. That scene's completely over, and done with
Yeah.
without the brother.
I
So like you said, I'm hoping that they do something with him for season 3 because that would probably be the biggest gripe that I have because his character doesn't fucking grow at all. If anything, he gets worse.
yeah, he's just a complete
He goes
asshole.
from like dickhead and asshole to homicidal by the end of the season.
Oh yeah, I mean, Steve beats the shit out of him, but he's just so crazy, you know.
He doesn't feel it.
No.
He beats the shit out of Steve.
I know.
Eventually almost
And
killing
what's
him.
funny about that is that Steve was against them going to do the plan, and once he got the
And
shit,
they did it when he's passed
they-
out.
yeah, they're like, "Let's go." They throw him in the car and they go, and they get there, and he's just like, "Oh fuck, I guess we're here. I guess we got to do this thing." So like he steps up. I mean, the part where like he's with Dustin and he goes to the trunk and opens it up and gets the baseball bat. I was like, "Oh my god, like this
Yeah.
guy's pretty fucking awesome." You
Oh,
know?
and I like their conversations too on the railroad. That kind of reminded me a little bit of like Stand By Me, the
Yes.
bullshitting that was going on.
All that was Stand By Me,
Um,
yeah.
And then in the car, it's Steve that brings Dustin to the prom.
Yeah,
and
that tripped
he
me
fucking
out.
uses the Farrah Fawcett hairspray too. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, that was a trip. I didn't expect that. Like because
Yeah,
Dustin doesn't have any siblings. It doesn't seem like
Right.
Steve does either. So
No, because remember, Steve fell from grace. I mean, that was the whole connection. That was basically the only thing that Max's brother did was remind you that Steve kind of fell from grace from the first season.
right,
He's no longer King Steve.
not top dog. Yeah,
Right, not anymore. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess I would have just had to watch the first season to remember that, but because he says it like every single time that they have a conversation together.
yeah, yeah.
So he says it in the shower. Before that, he said it on the basketball court. Then he says it right before he kicks the shit out of Steve. He says it like every fucking
That's
time
a
to
weird
him.
thing to say in the shower. It's like I mean,
Yeah.
you would say something like,
When he turned the shower off, I thought he was gonna fucking kiss him. Like that's why he was being a
I
dick to him.
kind of thought that too. I thought, see, there was a lot of things I thought when I'm watching the show, and they could be the complete opposite of what I thought.
Yeah.
And that was one of them. I was like, that guy's just treating Steve like shit because he's in love with him. Like he
Yeah,
just,
it's like a
he's-
5-year-old pulling the 5-year-old boy pulling the
yeah,
hair of
he's
the
just
girl.
wrestling. He's
5-year-old.
wrestling with his sexuality. He even looked kind of, that way. I mean, he looked a little the way he acted and stuff, but he,
It made sense as to why he was always so angry being in the closet. Like,
yeah,
but that was not the case. He's really just a dickhead
Yeah.
because his dad's a dickhead.
yeah.
Yeah, so I hope something happens with him in the third season because he needs to do something more than tell Steve he's no longer King Steve.
Or like, hey,
fucking
or hey,
lame.
look at my dick in the shower.
Let me turn off the shower head again while
Yeah,
you get
you're
shampoo
not
in your
look
eyes.
at this. You're not king. That'd be. I mean, that would have been.
Well, with the tricked out muffler that he had on his Trans Am, I think
was
it would be him that's
compensating.
overcompensating for something. Like Steve's like, no, 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 I'm still king.
Yeah.
Now I know why you drive that fucking sports car.
Exactly. Oh man, no, it was such a it was just a joy to watch this show. I was so happy.
Here's my biggest gripe. Here's my biggest gripe. It was only 9
I
episodes
know.
long.
I finished it in one day. That's my
And I gotta-
biggest gripe.
yeah.
Um,
And now I have 364 more days to wait.
like I almost think like Netflix needs to rethink their model and just bring out an episode a week. You know.
Well,
just to
that's the
stretch it
thing.
out.
That I read an article about that like they really did Stranger Things 2 harm by having this model this way, because think about, there's 26 weeks in 26 episodes in some shows, right? So that's, and I'm talking about network TV. So there's 52 weeks in a year. So half of that time each week you're just waiting for an episode,
Right.
right? So that means you only have, 25 weeks, 24 weeks until the next, or 22 weeks, whatever it is, till the next, for the next season drops.
Mhm.
And then, you go week by week again. Well, like I said in the beginning of this fucking episode, we fucking did it in one day. So I have all 52 fucking weeks to wait until it comes back again, maybe even more.
Right.
So that part sucks, but like, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait 20 weeks to find out it's fucking Barry in the goddamn stupid speedster suit. I don't want to wait that long, because at least if I can binge it and the fucking, like, they jump the shark, I could be like, oh fuck, oh well, I only got two. I don't have to wait 3 more weeks for this to finish. I can just finish it now.
Right, but that's true. But this show, I mean, if I really look at the show and I watched this one a week, I think the payoff would have been huge. I really, because the payoff happened in one day. So and even the payoff, like when it was over, I was like, oh, it's over. I felt like I've been watching it for a week, and I only watched it for a day. So when it ended, I was just like heartbroken. I was like, oh my God. But I thought, shit, if I watch this week to week after 9 weeks, that's almost, it's almost 3 months. The payoff, I mean, I think would have been even bigger. I was like, oh, this is so cool. But, but that's the model that they do. I mean, like, Game of Thrones and Westworld is different. It's like those are those you have to wait every, week to week. And, they're getting better.
I kind of wish like seasons 2 to 4 of Game of Thrones was Netflixed.
Oh shit!
Because
I know,
holy fuck, did you wait weeks
all
for anything
dialogue.
to goddamn happen?
Yeah, all dialogue.
Yeah.
That's paying off now, but it's all dialogue. It's not a lot going on there. No, I totally agree. But Westworld, fuck, it's taken a long time because it's been a year since we finished that. And Ash versus Evil Dead, same thing. It's like, fuck, when are they going to come out with that? Because it's like it's been a year and there's no sight when either one of those.
There's pluses and minuses to it, but clearly, like, if everybody took up the Netflix model, you'd have more good quality shows.
Yeah. You don't need 22 episodes of something.
No. I mean, sitcoms are a little bit different because you can have a ton of throwaway episodes.
But even like, Walking Dead does this thing where they do, and AMC does this to a lot of their shows, and so does like USA Network. But they'll show you 8 episodes, like really good episodes, and then it's like a couple of months go by, and then another 8 episodes, and then you got to wait like 5 or 6 months. But usually, it's like they have like 16 episodes, and there's like a gap. So you're not like, dying like, oh, I can't wait to watch this. It's back fairly soon. But I think Walking Dead's the only one that they do that now with, or Suits. I watch Suits on USA, and they do the same thing.
I mean, like I said, there's a pluses and minuses to both. But I know myself personally, I could sit there and say, yeah, you know what? If I had to wait 9 weeks for this entire season to end, the ending of the episode would have been like, oh, can't wait for it to come back in 50
43 weeks.
43 weeks instead, so
it's still a long time.
So I guess, but my personality would be like, no, I fucking want it now. I don't want to wait a week. I don't want I mean, like, joking around, that is a lot of TV, and not a lot of people do what we do, like, for this shit. A lot of people don't like doing that because they need a break. I don't need a break. When a show's this good, I
didn't need a break.
I have to watch it. I have to watch it.
I kept going. I was like, I didn't want to stop. I didn't even want to go to the bathroom.
Exactly.
It's that good.
It was like the first season of 24.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
There's no throwaway episodes in
No.
in that first season
No.
at all. Every single episode in that season is brilliant. But like I said, I know I know when I have to wait like 5 seconds for an internet page to a web page to open up. I'm pissed. So so if it doesn't happen right away, I'm so pissed.
You're like, come on, man.
Yeah, and so there's no way I could wait I would not want to wait 9 weeks
I was
for Stranger Things to be done.
I was so happy that my internet held out so I could watch all of them. Usually my internet sucks, so like if it would have died, I just would have turned my phone on and watched it on there. I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, I would have too. Like Daredevil season 1 was like that. Well, so was Luke Cage, and so was
Jessica Jones,
and so was Jessica Jones. Like
Yeah.
so, you know, when Daredevil season 3 comes out, or when The Punisher comes out, I guarantee I'm gonna watch that all in one sitting.
Yeah,
Like, I'm
I
just
know
gonna-
it's funny.
telling you
We
right now.
always say, oh, I don't know how we're going to watch 13 episodes and record. I don't know how we're going to do this. And we do it in one day. It's like, boom, you know.
Yeah, because the next thing you know, like when you're binging like this, you know, all of a sudden it's nighttime and the kids are complaining they haven't eaten since breakfast.
You're like, next time I'm just going to throw them in their bedroom and just put a bunch of food
Yeah.
out. Here's a big spread.
I'm just gonna lay down. Well, my youngest isn't potty trained, so I'd have to lay down some tarp. Like, just don't shit where you eat. All right.
Yeah. Daddy will be back in 10 hours.
Yeah, here's some water.
Here's some water. Like they're an animal. Here's a water bowl.
Yeah,
And
here's a water bottle.
Cheerios.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
Cheerios. Make a little pile of Cheerios in the center of the room.
Exactly. Well, anyway, so Stranger Things season 2 it was just so happy that
Yeah,
they did such a good job, and now the wait, you know, for
Now
for
the
season 3.
51-week wait.
And what are they gonna do too? It's like I kind of have an idea, but I don't know. Like I think they have an opportunity now to take it in different directions, and definitely maybe introduce some new creatures or introduce, you know, some different
New
ways.
special kids.
Yes, new. Yeah, exactly. Because you got 2 now. You got 8 and 11. Who knows?
Yeah, and for all you know, 11 was the last one.
Right.
So then you got 10, you got 9, and then all the way 7 to 1. So like, you've got all these kids that can play a part in the show.
Right.
So fuck, that's gonna be awesome. Oh my god, the last season, the fucking that thing crosses over, and all fucking 10 of those kids, all 11 of those
have to go
kids.
against it. Oh, that'd be
Oh,
great.
that would be
That would
so
be pretty
fucking
amazing.
badass.
That would be pretty amazing. Actually, I think that thing should
I
be
would-
the
there would-
ultimate
there would-
baddie.
I would fucking I'm telling you right now, if that happens, one day I'm gonna finish the fucking show. Even if it's 12 episodes, I'm gonna finish it in one
I will
fucking
watch.
day.
I will watch all the seasons before it, the weeks before it, and then watch that.
The Duffer Brothers, I'm gonna patent that right now. If that's how the show's going, I want in on it. I want to be like one of the scientists that gets killed or something.
Yeah, I don't care.
don't care.
But I'll be a Demogorgon. I don't care. Like,
Yeah,
put me
I
in
don't care.
makeup.
You want me to like yell into a microphone and make all weird sounds for the demons? I'll do it. I don't care.
It's like I'll be a stormtrooper. Anyway.
I'll be the guy. I'll replace the guy that runs the arcade.
Yeah, that guy was creepy.
Yeah, that eats Cheetos.
Yeah. All right. Well, gosh, what an amazing season. But anyway, that was our take on Stranger Things Season 2. That was episode 105 of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic,
Until next time, folks, see you in the Upside Down.
later.